now, allegations of politicians using their power to gain access to resources earmarked for COVID-19 response has raised the ire of the public, provoking the ANC to have an urgent National Executive Committee meeting at the weekend. Now, it took place following claims of relatives and friends of ANC leaders benefiting from government contracts that run into billions of rands, while many South Africans continue to suffer in squalor. Corruption and integrity were the two main topics, painting a picture of a party in crisis from within. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni has called on provincial health MECs to publish a list of all companies that have been awarded personal protective equipment tenders in the provinces. Now let's unpack this with political analyst Sandile Swana, who joins us on the line. Thanks so much for your time this morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning to you, Sakina, and to your listeners.
So if we look at the word integrity and the word corruption right now, what comes to mind for you?
Obviously, what has happened now is that we're back to, in a very deep way, to where we were, where there is a large and growing trust deficit between the ANC and the voting public, as well as general stakeholders, whether they're in business and elsewhere. So if there is a single word that would describe the present situation, it would be distrust, or total lack of trust and disappointment in terms of the public by leaders who have decided to take state resources at a time of crisis and to use them for their family, their relatives and themselves.
So, Mr. Swana, what happened to the new dawn? Wasn't this supposed to be the start of a new beginning and a new way of doing things?
Certainly, many of us did warn from the start of this that when you talk about the new dawn is about also unity in the ANC. And the unity meant that you are, whoever you may be, you are certainly having to unite with people who have been actively involved in crime and corruption, abusing of state resources. Then whoever you are who's bringing the new dawn, that has got to be part of the agenda. That is why there was a unity card promoted by David Mabuza and others. You are unifying the criminals with any other regular comrade, if ever there is such a thing. So the new dawn was a waste of time from the start.
So speaking of the Deputy President, David Mabuza, and the Integrity Commission of the ANC, making some interesting remarks regarding whether he was cleared or not, following his appearance before that particular commission, before he was sworn in as Deputy President of the country.
Yes, you see, that's exactly the point, that the so-called Integrity Commission makes decisions that are contingent, that must be eventually approved by the NEC. And the NEC has got a very strong component of people who are implicated, including our Deputy President. Right now, even the President himself and his son and so on and so forth. So any pronouncement by this Integrity Commission is in essence a pronouncement of the ANC NEC. And David Mabuza simply demanded at the time to be cleared. And he got the clearance of, well, we'll say he got the clearance because he got the deputy presidency. So any other thing that you say is neither here nor there.
And which has, of course, prompted many to say that that particular body is a toothless dog, because it is quite curious that the commission would come out now at this point and say that they didn't actually pronounce that they had cleared the deputy president, but he went on to be sworn in.
Bear in mind that, let me confirm, first of all, it is a toothless dog. And you remember that the ANC learns from institutions like the Communist Party of Russia, the Communist Party of China. We know for sure that in China, they kill you for corruption. The Communist Party of Russia, to a certain degree, put in jail some of the what you call the oligarchs. Right now, the Integrity Commission of the ANC cannot enforce its own decision consistently. Because you remember they got rid of Tina Pule for her own misdemeanors. They advised her not to stand, and she's nowhere. We don't see her anywhere. Right now, there are many that they are unable to get rid of. They've gotten rid of Andile, what's his name, Lungis, I believe, recently, one way or the other. But they are not able to make consistent decisions about every member.
Now, with that in mind, and we have seen, of course, in light of the latest scandal that seems to have engulfed the ANC, this around the personal protective equipment tenders, that people are angry. They have as much as come out to express that anger. But does the ANC as a party have any real concept of the anger of ordinary South Africans who are seriously battling during this pandemic, who really need the assistance from government, while it seems that the leaders are stealing?
You know, I think what happened here is that Cyril Ramaphosa stated that this money must not be stolen. Meaning perhaps to you and me that, guys, even if we are used to stealing, this time, this particular money in this category must not be stolen. I don't want a commission of inquiry because we're known for stealing money and calling commissions of inquiry. They did not pay any attention to their own president. And I want to believe that that president had approval from Luthuli House and in the cabinet that he must make that statement. He made that statement. The very members, his own members, senior members in the ANC, went and stole. So the anger, they knew the anger would come. They lost PE before they lost Joburg, and they regained these things. So our anger as citizens is neither here nor there to them.
So with tender corruption, not surprisingly, at the heart of the problem right now, where does this leave the ANC? How does it actually resolve this particular problem internally, if it can? And how does it appease its own situation, its own appeal to the party outside?
The appeal, first of all, on the last point, the appeal of the ANC is mainly to the rural areas, mainly to those who are dependent on cash grants. And that number is growing. Some estimate already that since the beginning of this year, I want to believe we've already added 3 million unemployed people. Maybe by December we'll have added 7 million. And the number of the poor who are dependent on comrades in terms of getting grants from the state is increasing. So their credibility is the grant that they give. Their credibility is the RDP houses that they give. There is no moral credibility beyond that. Another thing to consider is that the people who are committing corruption in the ANC, they joined the ANC precisely to have access to state tenders. So when you say they must stop the thing that they came there for, actually, it cannot make sense to them. And they cannot agree to that. And they are disagreeing right now with it. They want their families to be free to attend to any tender that comes out undisturbed. You remember that the ANC once pronounced of a cooling off period for DGs and other things. What happened? We saw DGs taking up big multi-billion businesses in the very sector that they've been governing and regulating. That never worked. It has never worked because people join the ANC to make money, and the money that must be made must be through state power. And to call a meeting to discuss that is a waste of time.
Well, thank you so much, Political Analyst Sandile Swana, talking to us about the ANC's National Executive Committee committee meeting that took place over the weekend. Let's take a quick break.